What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tony from Black Thought. I told you guys, I made the announcement that only about 9% of people who watch the videos are subscribed. You guys are ridiculously awesome because now about 15% of people who watch the videos are subscribed. However, I know we can run that up higher. So please, if you like the video, subscribe. Thank you. On to the video. So it's been over a year since the murder of Breonna Taylor. We've gotten 3 guilties in the George Floyd Derek Chauvin trial. And now I want to kind of analyze the other cases that are out there. I've spoken about the Ahmaud Arbery case. I'll put the card up here somewhere so that you can watch that video if you'd like to. But let's talk about Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor, her murder sparked insane amounts of outrage across the nation, and it was more than what was warranted, because she was murdered for doing absolutely nothing. She was sleeping while black, and that was her death sentence. And you know, the outrage that came with it, the amount of people that were saying say her name, that are still saying say her name, that are still marching on her behalf and saying her name in these conversations that need to be held, is astonishing. And I'm pretty proud of us as a community, in terms of the black community, for sticking up and standing up for her. But now what has happened? If you ask her family, they say little to nothing. They say that there was little to no accountability. And I'll tell you why they said that. You see, Daniel Cameron, the first, and yes, I'm saying first because that's what he is, the first Black Attorney General in Kentucky, he decided not to pursue any charges against any of the officers. And I know what you're thinking, you know, as a black man, how could he do that? But there's a saying, you know, not all black faces in high places are loyal to the black faces. Instead, they're loyal to those high places. And I think that's the case with Attorney General Daniel Cameron. Now, pushing forward, like I said, none of the officers were charged in connection to her murder. That being said, due to a grand jury, one of the officers does face charges and has been indicted on charges for endangerment, because when he got into the apartment of Breonna Taylor, he just shot blindly without looking where his bullets are going to go or anything like that, with no target in sight. And he fired off about 10 rounds. That caused him to now face endangerment charges. However, he only faces charges. He has not been given a guilty verdict. And even if he is determined to be guilty, there's a maximum sentence of only 5 years. And I honestly don't think that's worth the life of Breonna Taylor. I think that whatever Derek Chauvin receives should be the exact same punishment as these officers. However, 2 of them are coming out scot-free, and the other one only on endangerment charges. Moving forward, Daniel Cameron says that the officers were justified for their use of force because after entering the apartment, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend at the time shot at the police as they entered the home. That being said, her boyfriend did not know they were the police. In fact, he even called 911 and said, "Hey, people are breaking into our home." And due to that, police shot back, is what the story is generally told by Daniel Cameron. Now, Daniel Cameron also says that the police did knock and announce that they were police prior to entering the home. He says that the evidence shows that. However, Daniel Cameron also says that the evidence doesn't show that. He literally says the evidence shows that, but then goes on to acknowledge that there's no evidence that shows that. He quite literally says that there is no video and no body cam footage to back up the claim. So I'm not sure how he can say that there's evidence while simultaneously admitting there is no evidence. But that is not an issue for me. I think that's more of a Daniel Cameron thing. I don't understand what role he is playing here and blocking justice for Breonna Taylor, especially as a black man himself. But I won't get into that. It should also be mentioned that the 3 men that served the warrant were all terminated from the police force. One of them right away, the other two about 9 months afterwards. And on top of that, one of the men that were injured, there was a complaint filed against him. However, the police department of Louisville basically said, "Oh, it's okay," and didn't really address the complaint filed against him. On top of that, the city decided that what they would do is they would then pay $12 million to the family of Breonna Taylor. Now, here's the thing with that. I'm not against them paying $12 million. I have an issue with putting a price on life, but that's neither here nor there. My bigger issue is that is taxpayer money that goes directly to them. I personally feel like that money needs to come out of the police department's budget. Granted, I want Breonna Taylor's family to get that money. Do not get me wrong. However, without that money hurting the police in some way, it just seems like there's no accountability, which is what her family says. Now, that being said, the city has also pretty much banned no-knock warrants, which I want to bring back to the Daniel Cameron thing of him saying that the police announced that they were there and knocked. If they were serving a no-knock warrant, why would they knock? All the indicators just say that Daniel Cameron's trying to cover the police's, excuse my French, ass. So, oh well. But anyways, pushing forward, when you go back to look at kind of what happened, right? And when you look at the I guess the coincidences of it all in terms of, oh, they knocked. However, there's so much evidence saying they didn't knock. And then, the one charge that is not even necessarily related to Breonna Taylor's death, because Hankinson is not the one that shot Breonna Taylor. It was Deputy Cosgrove. And when you realize, it's just crazy that no charges were filed. And the fact that we even have to consider the more than likely possibility that no charges will ever be filed, it's kind of disheartening. However, I will say something came out of it in terms of reform. No-knock warrants are now kind of on the chopping block as a general thing across the U.S. That being said, not everywhere has basically banned them, and honestly, it's just so much. I'm so sorry, guys. It's just so much that's wrong with this. Personally, no action has been done. Essentially, no action. The family received some money. The city has banned no-knock warrants, but other than that, no action to get justice for Breonna Taylor has been done. And that is not to the lack of activism and people that showed up in the streets. That is not to the lack of them, because they were abundant. It is to the lack of the political system and the justice system and the willingness that political figures like Daniel Cameron have to cover the ass of the police as the first Black Attorney General of Kentucky. Thanks, guys.